Welcome to the Album Anniversary Podcast. Today's show is about Satellite by P.O.D. It was released September 11th, 2001, and is celebrating a 25-year anniversary. I'm your host, Caleb, or Caleb the Spy is what I go by on a lot of social media sites. And every day on social media, I post about what I call album anniversaries. So on the Album Anniversary Podcast, we take a look at a classic album, an album we love, or an album that's important to us. I have a number of wonderful guests today. I'm going to throw it over to that conversation in just a minute. I just want to say it up front. Check me out on all the social medias. I'm trying to keep things going on all of them, Facebook and YouTube. Although YouTube has died. The algorithm has killed me. I used to get actual views on my shorts. No more. I have been banned, shadow banned, or something's going on YouTube. It's totally crazy. It's totally dropped off. Anyway, you can go, you can subscribe on YouTube. The big one is Patreon for $2 a month. I do at least one extra show every month. In July, I did 2 extra shows, just trying to do some extra content there. The support really helps the show. I'll be totally honest. It helps me pay for just the Zoom costs and some of the things going on. Hopefully there's cool interviews and cool different things, that conversations that are going on the show that help people, that people enjoy. So hopefully it's worth checking out. So there's also a free trial. You can try it for like 7 days or something. So try before you buy. All right. I will see you at the end of the show. Thanks, everybody. Awesome. So we're here to talk about, like I said just a minute ago, Satellite by P.O.D. Super excited for this one. Huge record for a lot of people. So I want to introduce my guests, and then we'll jump into our conversation. Let's start with my resident P.O.D. expert. Sorry you've gotten this label, Rob. Rob, welcome back to the show.
Hey man, I'll take it. That's a great label to have right there. I don't mind that a bit. Good to be here. Good to be back.
Yeah, this is my second time covering it, and I knew when I saw it on the schedule this year, there were 2 people I had in mind. One of them couldn't make it, but I was like, I wanted to make sure you got you on the show again to talk about P.O.D. because I know they're important to you. So super excited to have you back to talk about P.O.D. And then just a couple of freeloaders who talk about anything. I want them to. Totally kidding. Aaron from the It Rocks podcast. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Always happy to be back.
3 shows here this spring or this fall. We're really packing them all in. So
yeah.
And then Pete, we talked 3 days ago. Welcome back to the show again from a Pickle Home Companion. Thanks for joining the show again, Pete.
Hey, thanks so much, Caleb. You know I'll be on whenever you need me.
Yeah, we may have talked for like 20 minutes about this record after we recorded about the last one. So I'll act really surprised when he says, and then this happened. I'm like, what?
I just like to sit in the waiting room, and then you bring me in on any podcast if you need it. Yeah.
He hasn't done anything for 4 days. He's just been sitting there. Caleb, I'm going to take a bathroom break. Whatever you want, Pete. It's fine.
We're not bringing you in. That's fine.
I'm going to bed. I'll see you maybe later.
All right. Perfect. Glad to be here, my friend. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I think we got a lot to say about this record, so let's dive in. All right, Satellite by P.O.D. again is the record. September 11th, 2001. Obviously, really important day. I know we've been already laughing around. We're not trying to joke about that day in any way at all. I know that is a very, very serious day. So I hope people can understand that 25 years later, we're focused on this record, and we're not trying to be flippant about that day and its impact. In fact, I'm sure it will be part of the stories when people share. But September 11th, 2001, it was their 4th record, and it was on Atlantic, and I believe it's their 2nd record on Atlantic. I think Fundamental Elements of the Southtown was their first one on Atlantic Records. Producer on this is Howard Benson, and I literally copied and pasted my notes from the last time we covered P.O.D. because why not? So if you listen to that, sorry, this is a little bit of a repeat. He has worked with Motorhead, Less Than Jake, Blindside, My Chemical Romance, All American Rejects, May, Papa Roach, Sepultura, Reliant K, Third Day, Kelly Clarkson, Creed, Skillet, Disciple, Three Doors Down, Naughty, I don't know how that one made the list, and also a lot of P.O.D. He has never worked with Switchfoot. Sorry, Pete. He has also
But he has worked with John Foreman.
Oh, I guess we'll count it then. He has won a couple Dove Awards and a couple Grammys, so he is I think, a very well-known producer in the industry. Obviously, those are some huge bands, covers a wide variety too, so I don't know. Any other thoughts on Howard Benson in general?
Just real quick. So he worked with all of the American Rejects?
Yeah, exactly. Every last one ever. He has brought them in.
That's a lot.
Even if it was just a real quick recording session. That was a good joke. I like that.
So that's why his resume is not longer. Got it.
That's why it is so long.
Yeah, oh, all right.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
it's a
that's
good
why
way
it's
to
not
shorten it,
longer,
though.
because that took all of his time. I got it.
Yes, thank you.
There are a lot of those rejects. Yeah.
Lining people up. What were you rejected for? Don't like spaghetti. All right, come on in. What were you rejected for? I like ketchup on my eggs. All right, come on in. They're all food related, apparently, to me. I'm hungry.
It works.
Man, then I even worked with Howard Benson. Got it.
All right. That was a weird tangent I wasn't expecting. Singles on this record, and boy, were they big. I think we'll talk about them with songs, so I'm just going to mention them. Alive, Youth of a Nation, Boom, and Satellite, all singles. And I feel like not just that, but like Boom in particular is still in the cultural zeitgeist. Yeah. I think you hear that at sporting events. I think it's been the walk-up song for a number of artists. So all four of those huge singles, especially I think especially Alive, Youth of the Nation, and Boom were all pretty massive singles as well. Any thoughts on those singles?
Yeah, I'll just say I don't really know how Satellite, first of all, is the, I mean, I get why it's the title track. It kind of does pull everything together in a way. But I'll never really understand why that was chosen as one of the singles for the album. To me, there were some stronger choices that could have been made there.
Yeah. The only thought I have is that it's fairly like rock radio. Like it has that pop, there's a pop sensibility to it that they don't always show. Like, so that's the only thought I have, is that I wonder if they thought like, oh yeah, this will be one more that just can kind of hit the mainline rock stuff. But I agree. It's an interesting choice, not only for the title track, but also for, to make a single. And it was the fourth one. It was probably pretty late.
Yeah.
Well, and you're right about Boom. I mean, I just was at a soccer game yesterday or last week, something like that. I don't know how my day's right, but that song was played, during the warm-ups, during the, as they were going on the pitch. Like it was, yeah, it's still here and it's still in heavy rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. In pop culture, if you go to the Boom page on the Boom page, that sounds so weird. The page about Boom on Wikipedia, there's like a whole section of in pop culture, because like it's been used on, everything from wrestling to, other video games. And so, yeah, it's got a whole thing. And I know I've heard it at baseball games. And so, yeah, it's definitely a cultural thing.
Oh, I'm going to go to the Boom page now.
The Boom page. Go to the Boom page, guys. We're going to open it. That's a coffee shop that we're opening. Everything is food with me right now. Cheers.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention that there's an entire movie, Here Comes the Boom.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it's worth a mention, especially because you have Henry Winkler singing that song in there, which is just pretty classic.
I was trying to find my DVD copy, and because I got it in the dollar bin, just so I could bring it out. I mean, I have my Extreme Days always, but I don't have.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, always. But I don't have that one. I was looking for it. I can't find it. It's in a box somewhere.
Okay. We don't have time to take this deep dive now. You're saying there's a movie called Here Comes the Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Henry Winkler.
Yes.
And at some point he sings this song.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Well, that will be at the end of the show. If I can find that on YouTube, I will be clipping that in for sure. Holy crap.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what I was just gonna say.
but it's also starring Kevin James. So the King of Queens himself is in that movie.
Holy cow. Well, I got homework. I got to write that down somewhere. I'm going to forget. I will work on that.
Salma
holy cow.
Hayek, Joe Rogan. Oh no, don't go on
It's
this
a whole-
tangent. All right,
wow.
yeah, it's on Tubi for free, just so you know.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, literally everybody is on it.
Yeah, I know what I'll be watching after this.
Awesome.
Extreme Days, right?
Yes. Well, after Extreme Days, I'll watch Here Comes the Boom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This album would debut at number 6. It would sell 133,000 in copies in its first week, and it would spend 5 consecutive weeks in the top 10 of the charts. That was not a good sentence I constructed. So that's kind of when it debuted, when it came out. Again, debuted number 6, 133,000 copies, and it was number 5 weeks in the top 10. All right, long-term sales. It went on to be certified triple platinum, selling over 3 million copies in the US, and then it would be 7 million worldwide. And to this date, I think to date it is still the band's highest selling album. It would also place at 137 on the Billboard top 200 200 albums of the decade. And it was the 117th best-selling album of 2001 and the 26th best-selling album of 2002, which is really interesting that a year later, because it's released at the end of 2001, so it was actually the 26th best-selling album of 2002, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Anything on the long-term sales of this record?
I mean, we'll get into it with songs, but just there was a couple of songs on that became almost like pivotal songs for the moment. So I think that makes sense why the album kept selling, because they'd use a couple, Youth of the Nation, the different ones just for the time we were living in at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think part of it might have been as well the Christian market, just because a lot of times it takes a little bit more time for that to carry over. I mean, it was obviously very mainstream successful, and I think it was probably equally successful on the Christian market, but sometimes it takes a little bit more momentum to get going on the Christian market.
Yeah. So kind of the long-term legacy of this album, in July 2010, HM Magazine, which is, it's a kind of a Christian heavy metal magazine, it's kind of how I would describe it, ranked Satellite as number 2 of their top 100 Christian rock albums of all time. In 2018, Heaven's Metal Magazine, different from HM Magazine, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's the exact same one and just the citation was different.
It's an offshoot.
It's an offshoot, okay.
They split. They were apart, and then
they
split.
had a fight. They had a falling out. Okay.
Well, yeah, one was the harder music and one was the heavenly metal. Yeah.
Okay, so one was heavenly and one was harder. Got it.
Yeah, I only know because we had one of the writers on, and he told us that they split, so it's an offshoot. And I think they still do some things together still, but it's still a 2 different.
Okay.
At that time.
So Heaven's Metal in 2018, that ranked Satellite as the number 18 on their top 100 Christian metal list of all time. And then in March 2021, the album was also put on their Christian metal albums that changed the game list. So they put it on a couple lists. 2 more ones. In January 2025, Loudwire ranked Satellite as number 28 on its list of the top 50 new metal albums of all time. And then in 2021, the staff of Revolver included the album on their list of 20 essential new metal albums. So again, that's part of the reason we're talking about this. This clearly has a legacy to make all those top 10 lists. Any thoughts on those lists?
Honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't rank higher.
Mm.
I'm not even saying that because I think it's that good. I'm just saying it because I hear more people talk about that album and songs from that album than most other new metal albums.
I was having a similar thought, or maybe train of thought, is the idea of, in terms of a top whatever list, weighing just like pure quality versus like impact, where they're both obviously important. But I mean, I think this is both a good album and obviously a huge album. And so you kind of, those go hand in hand. And I think that's why you see it be on these lists and ranking as high as it does.
Yeah, I can see it being lower down on like let's just be honest about the divide, right? Like Loudwire is, not coming from a Christian perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And like so I can see that weighing on their decision. But yes, I agree. Like this is when you talk about like both that quality and the impact of this album alone, like I think it really has to be I don't think it can be understated. And I think we'll get there, especially when you guys talk about it. Less so with me because of whole other set of circumstances. But yes, it is like it is pretty amazing to see it actually like get included in those because there's also some really big new metal acts that were huge. I mean, let's just be honest, like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Linkin Park. I mean, those are three of the biggest bands in the world right around the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really was a movement of music, despite how much people might make fun of it now. That's a whole other conversation.
Some people just don't like to have fun. That's okay.
Awesome. Any other thoughts on its legacy?
Well, I was trying to bring up the just about the Loudwire. I was trying to bring up the list, but my computer's going pretty slow. So, but I'm just interested to see what the other albums or the other albums were up against it. So, and why it's at 28.
Sounds like a Patreon episode.
But that's a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Sign me up. Let's go.
I need one frog. How did you first discover this album?
I was already on board with P.O.D. for a couple of years, so this was more just the natural progression of things. I think I talked about this. We did an episode a couple years back on a Project 86 album about how a good friend of mine and I traded him my copy of Project 86's debut, and he traded me his copy of the P.O.D.'s Warriors EP, which was right before Fundamental Elements came out. Yeah. And so that was my introduction to them, and then we both became huge fans of each other's bands, and so I was a huge fan of Fundamental Elements, and was super hyped whenever I heard this coming out. And then obviously this is, I'm sure, a topic we'll get into or more in a minute, but as these songs started picking up huge mainstream steam, it was obviously I'm getting more and more excited about it. And so yeah, I discovered it when I heard it was announced, because I was a hardcore nerd digging around on the internet, and I was like, okay, give me the track listing, give me every bit of information I can get about this. I'm ready for it. And I was.
Awesome. So eagerly anticipating.
That's the way to put it. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. And then, yes, we will talk about like the actual, maybe we'll talk about, maybe we'll add a question and like your first day experience with it, because I think that's going to have an impact. So, Rob, what's your introduction to, I know you've probably talked, I know you for sure you talked about it. What's your introduction to this album? I'm assuming a similar story.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like he said, I mean, I was already a big fan, really enjoying their music, and like a lot of people, I got in on fundamentals and then backtracked on their catalog. And so by the time Satellite came out, I was like really ready for some new P.O.D. music. And yeah, I'll never forget. I was riding with my mom somewhere. We were not doing anything incredibly important, but anyways, I remember knowing that they were going to release a new track. And so I was like, Mom, I said, I know you're not going to want to listen to this radio station, but like, I just need to listen long enough to catch this track. And it was Alive. And man, I had to listen to a lot of music that I didn't want to listen to get there. But that's how things worked back then. So you just listened to the radio until you heard the song that you wanted, right? Or at least for me, you guys, y'all are talking about like being online and stuff. I was not online until like the later 2000s. So it wasn't really a thing for me. But yeah, anyways, I just remember listening to the radio, waiting for it to come on, and then it finally came on, and having like mixed feelings about it, because I was like, okay, this doesn't sound like Fundamental Elements of Southtown. But I was also like, I'm ready for something new, so this is cool. It was a lot more melodic, heavier on the lyrics. I don't know. It just, I guess, like my gut reaction was, it sounds like they really put a lot of thought into their evolution and becoming better as a band and trying some new things. So I was just really, really pumped for it. I don't remember much between then and the release day, but I remember the release day. Um, of course, we all remember the release day for a very different reason. But I didn't go out and get it that day, but I remember that week, um, I had gone and after school cashed my paycheck and walked over to the record store there in town and grabbed my copy, and I had my Discman, and I remember walking. I was probably going to like a Bible study or something at somebody's house, and I just remember walking and listening to it. By the time I got there, I was just so pumped, and because I mean I at least listened to the first four tracks, and I mean goodness, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. But I got there and I was like so excited about this new CD, and none of my friends were into the kind of music I was into, so I couldn't really talk to anybody about it. So it stunk, but it was a really cool experience because, like, I mean, I've talked many times, and I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling here. I'll wrap it up, I promise. But um, I've talked many times about how I don't feel like the track listing is correct on satellite. It just feels off to me. We can talk more about that if y'all want to, but for my part, it doesn't make sense that it starts the way it does. I love Set It Off. Set It Off's a great song, and I understand why it's the first one on there. And I mean, it hits hard, but I always feel like Portrait should be the first song on there. I don't know why. It just that build up and then the immediate release of the tension is just, to me, is perfect for an opening track. But all that aside, man, I listened to those first four songs and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm in. I'm good.
All the way back in probably early August, because it looks like Alive is released as a single on July 31st of 2001. So you kind of were prepping for it, and then got a little bit into that story. So yes, so obviously, so you were looking forward to it and got it that first week. That's pretty exciting. So, and were they your favorite band by the time this came out, or were they at least in the top couple?
Yes, I think I would have said that they were my favorite band at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty much immediately after Fundamental Elements in Southtown, I was just locked in.
Okay, cool. So obviously also eagerly anticipating. And then, Pete, first off, did you have the vinyl of this? Is that what I just saw?
Oh, yeah, I was checking when he brought
Holy
up
cow.
yeah, there we go.
There it is.
When you were talking about Set It Off and Portrait, I was like, I thought Portrait was last, and I'm like, sure enough, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so yeah, there you go.
That's impressive.
I picked it up recently. It's the Rocktober, let's see if it's the Rocktober re-release.
Nice.
So they put it out on vinyl, and I realized I'd never had it. And my brother-in-law and I get each other albums for Christmas, and that was that year's album we got each other. It's
Nice.
always the same album because we always
So you buy the same album for each other?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah,
hilarious.
and then we save on shipping by one of us buys it and then Venmo's the other. It works.
It's a system.
It's a system. Like
we're ripping someone off, maybe ourselves, but
probably. but we're both in different states, so we can't share it.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Pete, were you also eagerly anticipating this album? What's your introduction, maybe to P.O.D, but to kind of hearing about this record?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was early. I came in on Fundamental Elements actually right before Fundamental Elements came out. So I've been listening to some of the back catalog, so Brown and Warriors, and so I really liked P.O.D a lot. And then when I was in college, I finally got to see him live on that tour with Head PE and Project 86, and everybody except Head PE was great in that show. But I mean, they were good too, but just it was weird. It was weird as a Christian kid to be like at this, and then the guy comes out in like body armor and is like, "Hello, all you sinners," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I've just come from a Christian college and I don't know what's happening." But yeah, but I still have my my project sticker from that show. I'm
Yeah.
one that has a problem.
That's cool.
I can't stick it on things, because it's so permanent. Which on the inverse side, getting into the satellite release, I was in college. We had laptops, the old bricks, because they didn't do much, but on it, you would decorate it. And so I just threw it away recently, the laptop, because it doesn't work anymore. It had the P.O.D sticker, anticipating the release date. So it was the 9/11/2001. It was, I had it on my laptop, ready to go, ready to listen. I also remember, to piggyback off of what Rob said, I listened to the single and heard on the radio that it was going to be playing, and I had my boombox with a cassette tape,
Nice.
and I had the pause, play, pause, record, ready to go. And once they said, "All right, here's the new single," boom, I recorded it on cassette, and because I was just like, let's do this.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
that's cool. I hadn't thought about that, so I'm glad you brought that up, Rob. Yeah.
Nice. My story is very similar, and then we'll talk specifically about release day. In that I got involved. A friend of the show, Scott, had said, "Hey, he had turned me on to P.O.D. back when the Fundamental Element. I think right before it kind of blew up, because that's the album that then blew up. It ends up on Total Request Live, and I don't know how he had gotten into it, but he kind of turned me on to it back then, kind of right before it broke big." So I was just tangentially aware, and then when it broke, I got into them. So I was also anticipating this, which is an interesting segue into kind of I'm gonna go through I'll get my introduction to this, or my opening day to this out of the way.
Yeah.
Because my day one is very different than everybody else. I was living in China at the time, and so my interaction with 9/11 is totally different. I didn't see any of the footage until about a year and a half later. It just wasn't in. It was a weird time in my life. I was living in China, and so like we kind of got cut off from it. So the whole 9/11 thing also just hits me different. But I swear, my first year in China, I had a conversation. I had the CD, and I don't know if somebody sent it to me, or if Scott somehow got me a pre-release copy of it. I don't know, but I had it in China, and I was in China on 9/11. So I had it in that first year. So my story's a little like my actual remember listening, because I remember I listened to it a lot that year. But I don't have quite the like the impact of that day does not hit me quite the same. And I don't know if I got it early or if somebody sent it to me, but at some point I got it during the year 2021 before I came home, because I remember talking to my roommates actually about the guy from Blindside, and I remember we were trying to figure out who they were, and that was part of the conversation. I was like, "Are they a Christian band?" We had no idea, and so we were trying to kind of look it up, and so I do remember owning it at some point, but I don't know when I got it. I want to assume it's way after 9/11 that somebody sent it to me, because I don't think I had an early copy of it, and I was already in country by 9/11. So that's my reaction. I know Rob kind of already kind of went through that. He actually got it a couple days later. Pete, I know you have an interesting story about kind of the day. But so, Aaron, do you have any recollection of like getting this on day one, or when did you actually think you actually got a copy of it?
I couldn't say for sure that I got it day one, but it seems, and maybe it's strange to not remember since it is such a memorable day in general. But maybe it's just the memories of other things going on superseded it. But because I know, as I just mentioned, like obviously I was hyped and anticipating this album, and I'm sure it's something I would have gone after as quickly as I possibly could. And so, yeah, I don't honestly recall if I had it day one or week one or what. I'm sure I had observations about the timing and how unfortunate everything about 9/11 was, but. In a very small note, how unfortunate it was for them and the artists that were releasing albums on that day as well.
It's a big day. It's I mean, Michael W. Smith's Worship album comes out on that day.
I was just going to say it was unfortunate that was released that day.
Right.
Yeah.
At all. Jay-Z had a big release that day. I mean, there's a number of really
huge ones.
Bob Dylan had a big release that day. What's his name? Rockin' the Suburbs
My favorite
came out.
Yeah,
Ben
my
Folds.
favorite Ben Folds
Yep,
album
Ben
came out that
Folds.
day.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
I
a
remember
big
picking that
day
one up.
in music, and
Man.
it's kind of like this weird connection. Do you guys, when you still think about this record, do you all think about 9/11? I know Pete do. We'll get to your story in a second, Pete. I know
Yeah, you're
Pete has
fine.
a fun story.
Yeah. Well, sort of fun.
It's sort of fun. That was wrong.
maybe a
I'm
small
gonna edit
bit.
that out.
Yeah.
Maybe a small bit. I mean,
Yeah.
be honest, because this is a thing that we've talked about a couple of different times on my show. Whenever we talk about albums just from this era, it is interesting to me that P.O.D. was able to get away with releasing a song called "Boom" 6 months later.
Wow.
And because there were so many songs and albums that
pulled,
were censored or getting pulled just for words that might be triggering,
Wow.
you know? And so I think about that kind of thing every once in a while, but not necessarily. I mean, there's so much, this album has so much rich history with me, and P.O.D. did at that era, that the 9/11 element of it is a piece of the puzzle, but not an overwhelming piece of it.
Okay. How about for you, Rob?
Zero connection for me, honestly. I think, kind of like Aaron was saying, there's just like dissociation between the two, which I'm sorry, Aaron, I'm putting words in your mouth when I say it like that, but it's just a matter of there's like this totally different level of importance in the things that were happening, to where I don't associate them at all in my head. In fact, it was only just a few years ago that I even realized that connection. And like, I don't know how everybody's ages on here, but for me, I was still in high school. So like, I was in 10th grade. So, you know, the world kind of, you know, and time kind of works differently when you're in that zone. And so and like I said, until just a few years ago, I'd never even made the connection that it was released on 9/11. It just never really occurred to me that was the case.
Interesting. So Pete, you for sure remember that was released on 9/11 because you have a unique story about this record and its connection to 9/11. So let's hear that. I've already heard it. Sorry, I'll act really surprised.
No, that was a great intro for it. So thank you.
I'm glad I messed it up at the end with my dumb joke. I'm good at this.
It's better than fun.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Good job, me. Woo.
Oh no, you're totally fine. It is actually, but it's a weird one, right? So, so when I first was introduced to like P.O.D, I had a radio show in college. It was called the All Testosterone Hour, but just so we could get, let's go. We were in college. We were dumb.
We're renaming the podcast. We're stealing that.
Yep. I believe me. Yeah. No, TM. I'm trying to get my co-host back. Sorry, boys. Pickle home boys. I'm not stepping on any stones. They'll get that. Anyway, so on our radio show, we would play like a bunch of the P.O.D. stuff. We were hyping Alive. We were hyping, you know, the singles and stuff. And so my radio show co-host, my buddy Brett, on 9/11, we all obviously know what happened, but he slept through the morning. So he slept through his morning classes and was going to lunch, and he just went to the campus bookstore and grabbed his copy. He's all excited. You know, he's bounding up the stairs to lunch, and he goes, "Guys, I got it. I got Satellite." And we're all like, you know, looks on our faces because we knew what was going on. We knew what had happened. And he's like, "Why is everybody so upset? And what's going on? What's the vibe today?" And then we told him what happened. And to be the ones that told him that happened was like the look of, it was like to experience it again, even though it already happened like 3 hours earlier. Just the shock on his face and the jaw drop. He goes, "No, there's no way. There's no way." And then just to see that collective reaction. So that is why when we're talking about connection to the record, that's why Satellite for me and 9/11 will forever be in the same thought because of that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a unique. I think I've told this story before, and I know I've talked to you about it, Pete, where I have a very similar one with Columbine, where like I was in college during that one, and I was in an adolescent psychology class at the time, and we walked into that class the day after, and we were like, we were all anticipating talking about it. We're like, okay, what is she gonna we're gonna clearly dive into this subject because, you know, and we sit there and she just goes right into her lesson, and we're all like, are we not? Are we not going to talk about it? And she's like, what are you talking about? And so somebody pulled out the paper, like from the town we lived in, and was like, you didn't see this? She had missed it the entire day. She hadn't seen anything on it. She had children, and I think she had gotten done with work and gone straight to running kids around, and then straight to bed and straight to, you know, work the next day. So we literally got to see her take the paper, and you can see her reading it. And then she like starts feeling around for a desk and like stumbles into a desk. And it's just like, it was crazy. It feels like that experience. Like she's sitting there like 10 minutes, the whole class is silent as she reads the story, you know? And then, so like we kind of got to, and you know, she didn't have anything profound to say outside of, oh my gosh, like she's like, I don't think we're going to continue on, you know? And so like, it is a unique experience to, you know, kind of have that, to like see your friend experience it. And so makes sense why it would always be tied to this record too. So
For sure.
Super interesting. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to listen to a song. We're not going to, but the listeners will. And then in a second, we're going to talk about why we like about this record, so we can all take a deep breath. What is it that we love about this record?
Yeah, for me, I think what I really love about it is just the big swings that they took. They tried some new things lyrically. They tried some new things, again, melodically. Had a lot of guest appearances, which I thought were really, really stellar on there. You know, and artists that I wasn't familiar with before then. So, you know, I was excited to learn about some new artists, and particularly the ones that they did have were at least some of them were some of their influences. So I thought that was pretty cool to experience. That was my first introduction to Blindside, was on the song Anything Right. And you know, just I like that they didn't just try to recreate Southtown, and that they made a completely different record. You know, you and I talked about it when we did cover Southtown, how the production quality is so different on the two records. And I know that, you know, I prefer the production quality on Southtown, but there's a lot to be said for the quality of production that's done on Satellite. It is, even if it's maybe slightly overproduced, it's well produced. You know, it's just it's done to a T. And while there's some choices I probably would have made a little bit differently, I wasn't the producer and they didn't ask me, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, there's some really, really great songs that do harken back to their older style. But you know, like I said, they took some big swings, they tried some new stuff, and that's really what made me love it initially. And I think it's part of what keeps me coming back to it as well.
It feels like they were really on the same page with Howard about production, because it feels like what they were going for was a big record, and he did. I think he gave them that. It is very clean and focused, and you know, it sounds like a big record, and I think that's kind of what they were going for. You know, they came from really more of a very punk influenced, a very hardcore influenced sound. And, you know, kind of had cleaned it up for mainstream. Not cleaned it up, but polished it up a little for mainstream radio.
Right.
So yeah.
I think it's just an album that is just a perfect start to finish album. If that, you know, like I like to deal in complete albums, and this is one when I was listening back, I'm like, this is just, while some tracks aren't maybe my favorites, it just as a full project from start to finish, it's really a great complete record. I also like enjoyed the fact that this is one that goes to the Christian market, also goes to the secular market, to use that term. But they were already being played on MTV. They were already on like Total Request Live. They were already all over the place. And then they just exploded with this album.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And also this is an album that my dad loved. So it's like, you can, it's hitting all the bases. So it's like when you say polished it up for a nice rock record, didn't really enjoy fundamental. I loved fundamental elements, but like I tried to share that one with my dad, and he's like, it's okay.
Hmm.
But the Satellite album, it's one he picked up on CD because I mean I'm in college at this time again. We used to like share a lot of records, but he's like he was listening to it on the way out to visit. So he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm listening to P.O.D. Alive, and I'm just going or P.O.D. Satellite, but he was listening to Alive at the time. I'm just I think my look on my face was like, wait, you picked up P.O.D. for your own for your out. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that just it hit everybody. I think more audience than some of the older stuff maybe would have done.
Yeah.
I think for me, man, it was. What do you like about the album? I think I look back on it and just the overall importance and kind of paradigm shift that this album was for me and my development as a music fan, as a high schooler, especially one who grew up in the Christian subculture version of things, where we have the recommended if you like posters on the youth group wall. And yeah, Christian music and non-Christian music or secular music are different things in different worlds.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I had, come across this band a couple years earlier, and Southtown had some crossover success too, but they just blew it out of the water with this one. And so the idea that all my worlds were colliding, and even the time period after this, where it's like, okay, P.O.D., this band that, was in that world that I'm coming from, but also is getting played on TRL next to Korn and Limp Bizkit and NSYNC and Britney Spears,
right,
is insane. Yeah. And that was mind blowing. And even and it continued a little bit. Go like a year later, I'm like, oh, Blindside signed with Elektra. Project 86 is releasing a ill-fated album on Atlantic. Like it opened these floodgates for some other bands in that world that I was into, and so it was a massive paradigm shift. And maybe to some extent even like the pinnacle, I guess, of like my to me, for my own personal experience, this and maybe Hybrid Theory would be like the most important nu metal albums. I'm not saying they are culturally overall, although Hybrid Theory for sure is, but Satellite it'll be in anybody's like top 20 of the best / most important nu metal albums. And for me, it's, like top 2 because of the world I was coming from and seeing them break out in that way. And then also to the points that you guys were also making with like production, like I agree. I personally prefer the actual like sonics of fundamental elements a little bit more. But I think Rob said it well that this is like Satellite, it verges on being overproduced, but I wouldn't quite call it that. Like it's almost too slick, but it still sounds good. Where I'll be honest, I still listen to heavy music like this a lot, and there are so many bands that take influence from bands like P.O.D. where I'm like, you guys are interchangeably produced. Like I can't tell a difference between one and another in terms of your sonics and how you sound. And this was a unique sound at that time. And what's more, you're talking about the complete album and the chances that they take, especially on the back half of it.
Yeah.
And how I don't think I had ever heard a record before that had screaming and reggae and punk and Spanish guitars all on the same thing. Like that was crazy. And so it was, I think that ultimately nowadays, that's what I like about that album is just what it probably did for me going forward musically. And how many horizons it kind of like opened me up to, I guess. It's funny, they did this is probably a good enough time to throw this short story in here. They did a 20th anniversary tour of this album a few years in 2021. And it was the first time I got to see P.O.D. live in ages. For the longest time, they were my most seen band live. But it had probably been like a decade or something.
Well, they were playing everywhere, yeah.
And so 2021, they literally play Satellite start front to back. And I went with one of my co-hosts on the Itch, and after the show, we were talking. He was like, "You look like a little kid up there with your excitement at watching that band," and I was like, that tracks, like, because it was such a nostalgia hit and took me right back into, and I didn't even listen to the album in advance to like prep. I was like, I'm gonna go in as cold as I can, considering I probably listened to it 1,000 times in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
But every track that came up, he was right. I was like, I would get hyped because like, oh, I love this one. I love this one too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so my relationship with P.O.D. changed over the years. It's gone up and down a little bit. But I mean, Satellite that's like a landmark record in my musical evolution.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'm not as into the hard music as probably all three of you guys are. And so like for me, the production really is something that makes me connect with it more, right? Like, so I enjoyed Fundamental Element, but like I because it has some of those, especially on the first half, right? It has some of those slicker moments. Like it really, really draws me in. And then you do get like, I don't have a strong connection with Blindside, but I do with Bad Brains. And so like you get this like this, HR's on the track 13 and you're like, holy crap. Like, like, and I know that is one of the most raw songs on the album. So I'm just a huge walking contradiction. I'm well aware of it. But like, I do think there is something about that, how pop sensible the first half is, that really just draws me in as somebody who's not a huge hardcore guy, and it just makes me really, really connect with this. So I think that production works for a guy like me, like, and it does, like, and I think that is why maybe the general population, it did draw so many people in, because it does. It's those first 6 songs, I'll say, we'll throw out the instrumental, but even though I like instrumentals, so those first 6 songs are just, they're about as perfect if you're making a rock record for the radio. I cannot think of a better 6 songs to start the album off with.
Agreed.
All right, Caleb, I'm just going to say you officially changed my mind on that. So good on you, because, most arguments don't really change my mind, but that one honestly does. I get that now. It's because I've harped on the song order for so long that I just don't get it. But honestly, that makes a lot of sense, that it works as an introduction to get somebody into it who wouldn't normally be super into it. So yeah, okay, good on you.
I like how we got both sides of it. We got it yours at the beginning, and I do think I do think you've got a good thought for why Portrait is I like it as a closing track because of the reasons.
It's a good closer.
You totally could put it at the front and it would totally work. I totally agree.
It would be it is a good closer though. I'll give you that.
Yeah. The other thing that I think really gets highlighted on this record for me, musically, it's really good. I think it's really, I think this is Sonny at some of his best, because he walks a line. Man, I'm getting emotional. This is so weird. He walks a great line here where he is open about his faith and what it means to him and the things that are important to him. And I'm saying, like, that's a broad thing, right? There's the song about his mother. There's some songs about like the world and how hard it is at times, but how he wants to have a perspective on the world. His Christian faith is here. And he walks that line really, really well, where a lot of bands, the way they walk that line is by every song sounding about, is this a song about a girl or about God? I don't know. He doesn't do that. It's really impressive. This is some of his best lyrical work, and I just really think he upped his game on this record, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And just, we'll put the promo in here now. If you want to hear Sonny talk about his book, Aaron, you guys had him on to talk about the book at one point, right?
I was hoping we'd have an opportunity to plug that somewhere in here. I appreciate that.
We're praising Sonny. Tell us about the episode where he joined your show.
Yeah, I believe it was, I looked it up before we started, and now I don't remember if I have that tab open. There it is. We've been trying to get Sonny on the show for years. We've been doing the podcast. We've been doing the Itch Rock podcast for 6 years, and Sonny has been a wish list guest of mine. I was never able to get him on the show for like an album or for music press, so I snuck in the back door when I heard that he was releasing a book. I found his publisher, his publicist for the book, and they hooked me up immediately. And so that was the way of getting Sonny on, and it was such a great story because they sent me a copy of the book in the mail, an advance copy, before it came out, and when we did the interview, Sonny is like, I haven't even got a copy of my own book yet, and you have one.
Oh man!
So I think I was one of the first people to have a copy of Sonny's book, and I think I was the first one that he signed because we saw them on Shipwrecked on the cruise.
Yeah.
Immediately afterwards, and I was the only one because the book hadn't come out yet. He was reading a passage from it, like as part of like promotional work for it.
That's awesome.
So I think I was the first person to ever get an autograph on his book. But episode 253, we got to sit down and talk with him about that, and it was a fantastic conversation. In person, he is everything that you hear stories about. Like P.O.D. and Sonny in particular have a fantastic reputation, like in the industry, of just being good, kind people, like the kind of people who will like clean up the green room themselves instead of making a trash mess of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Sonny was all of that, and so that was probably one of my favorite interviews that we've done for all the circumstances that I just mentioned. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to shout that one out.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely, we're praising him, so it felt like the appropriate time. Because I think he's so good on this, and I don't think he's bad at any point. I've never listened to a P.O.D. album and been like, well, Sonny's the problem here. Like, just it does not happen. But I was looking closer at the lyrics on this, and he does a great job on this record. It's really, really he walks a perfect balance, and my hat was off to him. I was kind of blown away as I was kind of taking a closer look at this record.
A much quicker aside, and we can obviously get into the songs in a second here, but to your point about like thinking about Sonny's work here and getting emotional about it, I did listen to the album a couple times in preparation for this episode. And so I'm grocery shopping yesterday and listening to Youth of the Nation, and the line, right, but it was the line that stuck with me that I've heard it a million times, but I started kind of meditating on it, and I like teared up like in the middle of Pete's Market or whatever. Was maybe this kid just wanted to be hugged. Maybe for a moment he forgot who he was, and so just thinking about this idea of you do these things because you don't know, at least in that moment, your true identity. I was like, that is a powerful line right there.
That same line got me when I was listening to it first, when in anticipation of this. Like I was hoping you'd say that one, because that was the one that was like, hit right there. Yeah.
P.O.D. is so good they're good at calling out, there's the things that are wrong with the world, but just like those lines, like there's such a compassion to it. Like you're telling a story about somebody who is doing a terrible thing, but you're not doing it with judgment. You're doing it with, man, that's such a shame and a tragedy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to piggyback real quick on what Aaron was saying. I think one of the things that really does set them apart as a band is, like he was saying, it's that compassion of calling things out, but also on the back end of that, and really in the last verse of the song, is not just calling it out, but also presenting the solution, right? And of course, a lot of times it's a very simplified version of like, we just need to love each other. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, that's kind of where it lands, right? Is we need to do better about loving one another and caring for people. And that's always been a heart cry of the band. From their very first record, even till today, is, it's not just about, man, the world's messed up and it's got all these problems, but there's something we can do about it. And that's one of the things I think that's always been really beautiful to me about them as a band, is just their sincerity, their honest approach, and their willingness to try to make a difference in the world in some way, even if it's just on a personal level, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah, well said. We're going to talk about some of our favorite tracks, or maybe every track on this record. We will see. We didn't have a production meeting for the last 5 minutes. So let's start with the opening track, Set It Off, kicks off the album. What are our thoughts on that song?
First of all, that drum intro is just super solid. What a great way to start off not only the song, but the entire album.
Yeah.
It really does just get in your face immediately. But it's also, to me, like a perfect example of a new metal song. Like if you ask me to define what new metal is, I'm like, yeah, that song is pretty well textbook for how that kind of thing goes.
Yeah, it comes in heavy at the beginning. It's an insane opener for, like you said, with those drums. Just that really sets up the album. When we talk about complete albums, I know I go back to it, but that just it's a great opener to give like just a little taste of what you're about to experience.
I think it might also be arguable that it's one of, if not the most fundamental elements of Southtown sounding track on the album, which I kind of enjoy when bands sort of ease you into what's going to be different by starting with what's kind of familiar. So it has that vibe for sure. Yeah. Also, I would note, because I love playing this game, and maybe we'll get back to it with later tracks, but you guys were talking earlier about maybe alternate single ideas. If I were to replace Satellite or add a fifth single after Satellite, Set It Off would have to be probably the main contender. Like, I think that could have been a hit. I think it could have worked. It's the most aggressive of those singles that and one of the most aggressive on the whole album, but I don't think it's too aggressive that it wouldn't have played well in radio.
Right.
Yeah. I like that you get his, I like that you get the drums. Everybody kind of gets a moment on this, right? Like, I think even the bass comes through on this well. The guitar riffs are big on this. And you get not only his kind of rapping, but also some of the screaming. Like, they cram a lot into the 4 minutes or however long this is. I don't even think it's that long. Yeah, it's about 4 minutes. I mean, they kind of cram it all in. And like, again, AJ, friend of the show, AJ always says, you want that first track to be a thesis statement. Set It Off feels like a pretty good thesis statement for this record.
Yeah. A quick side note on it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it or not, but it was on either the Boom single or the Satellite single. Back when they used to do CD singles, man, that was a different time. But they had
those were the days.
But they had a remix version of it on there, done by I think one of the guys from 9 Inch Nails, and it's solid, man. It's so good. Yeah, look it up. It brings that industrial feel, but man, the final chorus is just that they did some amazing stuff with it. So highly recommend checking that out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I had that CD single because I always would go after those singles, especially if they had extra tracks. And that's cool. I'd forgotten all about that one. Thank you.
Looks like on the Boom single, Set It Off is the second track, and it's a tweaker mix is what it's called.
That's what it is.
So if Wikipedia is to be trusted. So I didn't know that. I looked it up. Just so we're all clear.
Sounds right to me.
Awesome. Second track is Alive, which was the first single, so we had all heard it. I'm guessing we had all heard it before the record came out. But what are our thoughts on Alive? I'll jump in. This is them showing off that they can write a hit, because man, can they write a hit, and this is one of them. Holy cow.
Yeah. It's an earworm for sure. Oh.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
It's an earworm for sure. I mean, it was stuck in my head so much so that I would sing it in the hallway in the college dorm I was in, and would get so annoyed with me that I started changing for the very first time to for the 444th time, and then every time I'd sing it, I just was add a number to it. Yeah, that was all the college days, I tell you. But yeah, that so much so it got stuck in my head that it was one of those that just you couldn't stop singing it.
Yeah, I remember the music video being super huge. I think it did reach number 1 on TRL, didn't it, for a while?
I'm sure it did.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
They loved P.O.D. on TRL.
They did.
Always was.
They really did. But they had pretty good music videos for the most part, and that's honestly not a super common thing for a lot of new metal bands. Is having those quality music videos. Obviously your big ones did, like Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park, but a lot of them, they had those lower quality videos that was just like, oh, it's okay, but it never really matched the energy of the song. Whereas the one for Alive, I feel like really matched the energy of the song. It was really good.
I have to look into your question about the TRL thing.
I found it.
Yeah.
It did. It was the most requested video on TRL at one point in September of 2001. And then rather than simply having the video aired, P.O.D. performed it live. And
Yep.
apparently Sonny
Yeah.
was battling a severe cold, so it was a whole
Yep.
thing. Maybe, and then they also got to perform this on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yep.
So yeah, this was absolutely everywhere when the record came out.
Oh yeah, I remember going into the lounge just to watch that performance, and yeah, he was suffering, but he rocked it.
I think one of the things that's most fascinating to me about this song, especially where it fits in the big new metal picture, was how thematically opposed it is to Korn, Disturbed, Drowning Pool, Linkin Park. These bands are just singing about how depressing life is and how their problems, how big their problems are. And Sonny's like, and Sonny's like, sunshine upon my face. There's not there probably is not a more like happily anthemic new metal song out there than Alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that's what made him stand out in that crowd.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm crawling in my skin, these wounds that cannot heal. And you're
right.
You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Sonny's like, I bet if you go outside, they'll heal a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Trust and love.
Trust and love, yeah.
He was telling people to touch grass before kids were being saying to go touch grass. Man, he is ahead of his time. Jeepers.
Oh. So good.
So the single for this is so random. The School of Hard Knocks is the second track off that single. And that was, of course, included in the
Little
Adam
Nicky.
Sandler movie Little Nicky, which I watched a lot because, again, remember I was living in China. The only English station I had was HBO Asia, and Little Nicky must have been picked up by that. So I watched Little Nicky a lot in my second year in China. So
oh wow,
it's a weird. That one is I gotta cut that out of the show. Holy cow, it's such a weird show.
No, you should keep that. That's
that's a great
sure.
note. Yeah,
you're a survivor.
Yeah,
you made it through a lot of viewings of Little Nicky.
You lived in
I mean, don't get me wrong, the soundtrack obviously slaps, but yeah.
I was in China during SARS. That's my 2 years in China were a weird 2 years. Let me tell you, I could do a podcast on that on the Patreon. It's all the weird things that happened to you in China. Boom is the third track off this record. We weren't talking about something totally morbid 10 seconds ago. What are our thoughts on Boom?
So I'll jump in here real quick on this one. So I think I talked about this before with either with Fundamental Elements or Drawing Black Lines, whichever one it was. But I used to make skate videos when I was a teenager, and
Nice.
I, of course, the one that I made just shortly after this album came out, the very first song on there had to be Boom. It was the perfect energy for a skate video.
Nice.
I like
Are
that.
those
Who
available
else made
anywhere?
skate videos?
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
else?
No, it literally only exists on VHS. So
Oh,
sorry.
all right. Yeah, we used to do that too, where you just have a soundtrack for whatever you're doing. Oh yeah, that was awesome. I didn't make skate videos. I could barely walk, let alone skate. But I had so many knee surgeries back then. But yeah, we that was for sure that would be a great thing if I could skate.
Well, see, I wasn't very good at skating, which is why I'm the one that made the videos.
Oh, all right. Well, I thought you put it down on a tripod and you're off skating.
Every once in a while, yes, but most of the time I was filming somebody else because most of them could do way cooler stuff than I could. So,
Well, I was giving you street cred. You didn't even have to say. In the world of podcasting, they don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. Other thoughts on Boom? And I totally forgot, Rob, that you were on that Drawing Black Lines. So, Rob and Aaron, you guys have been on a podcast together before. That's hilarious.
Oh, we
Yes.
did do that
Yeah,
one.
I was trying to remember.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
did two
trying to
Project
remember
86s,
when
so I
we did
apologize. Yeah.
Hey, speaking
this
of,
is-
he mentioned Truthless Heroes earlier. We do need a plan for that one.
Oh, yeah. This is 25 years
I'm
of
sorry,
that
I'm
one
going to keep
coming up.
driving
Well,
that
it's
one
next
to the ground.
year.
There's so much to talk about.
Oh, there's so much to talk about with Andrew Schwab alone. So yeah.
Yeah.
I keep on
He's-
hearing this.
Yeah.
He's something.
Yeah.
He's something. All right. What are other thoughts on Boom? I don't know how much of this is making it. This is going to be all over the place.
Sorry for your edit. Yeah. I think I was just looking over again at the order of release of the singles, And, these guys are talking about some pretty heavy stuff on some of the tracks. I appreciate that right in between Youth of the Nation and Satellite, they're like, oh, by the way, we can write a perfectly good party song.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a tool they have in their arsenal, because they did the same thing on their previous album with Rock the Party.
Yeah.
And Boom, I mean, Boom is mostly just fun bragging. Like, there's not that much to it, but it's still such a good song, enjoyable song to hear. And as you guys mentioned, the music video like leans into that even more, where it's the ping pong video, right?
Yeah, with Blindside.
They're playing Blindside in the ping pong.
Yeah, the ping pong battle with Blindside. I'll never forget that video.
Yeah. So it's like right in between a song about Youth of the Nation and then Satellite being about his mother, or about, broadly people who we've lost. You just have Boom, and it's like, hey, we're coming out to play, and it's gonna be fun. It's like they're showing off their versatility a little bit.
Yeah, it's a hit, and they know how to write a hit. That's what is abundantly clear. Yeah.
Well, and as I consult the Boom page on Wikipedia, that's all I wanted to say. I have nothing more. I just wanted to say
I wasn't
consult the Boom page. I just want to tie it back in. No, but for real, that song with the table tennis, Sonny would say, you had they had the movie Balls of Fury, but they did it way before that. So it's just like, it's cool to see how much fun they had in the video. You could tell that was just a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, just like them, who can go back and forth between fun and serious, Youth of a Nation is the fourth track. It was also a single, very, very serious song, and I think we've already touched a little bit on it, but what other comments you want to make about Youth of the Nation?
I mean, it became a song for I don't want to say it this way, but almost the kids of 9/11, if that makes sense. Just like that there's still hope after such a tragic thing. I know that was kind of taken on by some different I don't know, kids programming at the time, maybe, for lack of a better word, or teenagers programming at the time. I think Nickelodeon at one point had something where they played, I might be completely remembering this wrong, and it might not have been Nickelodeon, but they had that as kind of a soundtrack for one of their news programs or something, just about the events that went on and how Youth of the Nation was a track for that.
Yeah,
it might have just been a thought. It might just have been a thought for just the time and a subgenre of people. I don't know, but it just feels like it fit.
Yeah, I remember. I wasn't a part of it myself, but my school put on a play. I believe it was called Juvie. It was about troubled kids and stuff, and right before the play, they played the song "Youth of the Nation." It was just a perfect intro to it. Kind of set the tone.
Yeah, that's interesting too. When I think about the lyrics to the song, I think it was more the hook, "The Youth of the Nation," that was used for the other part. But you're right, for the actual lyrics themselves, the other than the chorus, you're right. That's interesting.
It's heavy for sure. Yeah.
Lyrically, the way that Sonny presents "Youth of the Nation," his vocals are very clear. Whereas a lot of songs, it's kind of like I kind of have to decipher what he's saying a little bit. There's no denying the lyrics in that song. They're very plain spoken and presented extremely well, so that there's no confusion about what he's getting at.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I was just thinking about it as I listened to it again yesterday in the store. Like, I don't think there's much out there, especially in that time period and in that style of music, that sounds anything like this particular song. Like, where it's heavy, but mostly emotionally, and because it has a big old beat, but like it never breaks out into this huge, distorted kind of dynamic or anything like that. But it's just that, like, that steady beat and those guitars, like it's a very unique sounding song, even amongst their stuff, where they kind of hop back and forth between like hard rock and reggae related things, and so it stands out in that regard. And it's kind of funny because I have a distinct memory. I mentioned earlier how I'm like looking up all the information about it before it comes out. It's like, the day the album art comes out or the track listing comes out, like, I need to know, tell me all this stuff. I remember looking through the track listing and seeing that song and being like, oh man, that one's gonna rock out really hard. I can tell by the title. And I was kind of wrong in that regard, because it's like it's the big, not soft, but you know what I mean. It's a different vibe, that single.
It's as close to a ballad as you're gonna. They don't do a whole lot of ballads, but it pushes in on it a little bit. You know,
I thought it was going to be them like rallying the youth of the nation, but it's really more them kind of mourning the scenarios that the youth of the nation find themselves in. So,
yeah.
Expecting a boom riff with youth, youth lyrics. Yeah, right.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about how on the chorus, he has clean vocals, but there's a grit to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like crying out for the youth of the nation. It's like, it's really interesting how he presented, how he performed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be said, it's still their biggest song ever. Like, so just from a charts perspective, right? It is the only song they've ever had that hit number 1 on the Billboard Modern Rock charts. It reached number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it's their only single to reach the top 40. So again, it is from a charts perspective, it is P.O.D.'s biggest song ever, which is I think telling how much it connected with people.
Did Henry Winkler cover that one too, or
no?
I don't think so.
Oh, dang it.
Maybe he'll do that on one of his fishing trips.
William Shatner will cover it, right? Sorry, leave all that out.
All right, so there are 2 instrumental tracks. So we're just going to touch on them briefly. Number 5 is Celestial. So they go from Youth in the Nation of Buffers into Satellite. So Celestial is one of them at track 5. And then I'm going to mess it up because I'm not smart. Guitarras de Amor is track 9. It's also another instrumental. Any thoughts on the 2 instrumentals real quick? You don't have to be real quick.
You got it right for one. So that's good.
Yeah, you rock that.
You're good.
I like instrumentals, so I'm all for them.
I kind of do too. Yeah. Like they work. They satisfy their role, and they also show off a different side of the band where you get to see Marcos noodle around a little bit and kind of show off his, where he comes from as a guitarist, which isn't in that particular way. I don't really feel like it shows up again, except for maybe in maybe a little bit in Thinking About Forever. But yeah, so another display of their versatility, really.
Yeah.
I think this was the last record where they actually did the instrumental interludes. I don't remember. I'm trying to think if there were any after that. But Brown fundamentals and then Satellite, they did the instrumental interludes, and I don't remember anymore.
Maybe it's time for them to bring them back.
Yeah.
Well, I love a nice instrumental song from a band that doesn't usually do instrumentals. I think of like Everclear when they did El Distorto de Melodica. That's one of my favorite instrumental songs from a band you wouldn't think would do an instrumental. So it's cool to see P.O.D. doing them on these.
There's one on Payable on Death now that you mention it, but it's not like an interlude. It's like a full 6-minute song. It might be a little bit ill-advised. So
yeah.
I don't know if that was necessarily the best. I don't know. People have feelings about that one, but that self-titled album is definitely its own episode.
Yeah, that one was technically like a promo for Truby's album that he was putting out after that, I think.
Pretty much.
But you got Phil Keaggy playing on there too, so you can't really shut that down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that felt like a whole different vibe. It felt like a lot of different things going on that record in particular, and those songs. So
yeah.
All right. The title track is track 6, Satellite, and kind of rounds out the first half of the record. It's not totally accurate because 15 tracks, so but it kind of feels like a close down to kind of part of the record. What are our thoughts on Satellite?
I don't have great thoughts on it, so I'm going to refrain.
I mean, isn't this a song he wrote about his mom?
I thought that's
or was that
Thinking About Forever.
Well, it is.
I'd say there's a couple on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and he's written some other ones in different albums too.
Right. Thinking About Forever for sure, but I feel like Satellite, See You Smile on the Face Again, Satellite.
Yeah. The one of them he specifically mentions his mom, and I think the other one he doesn't, but I think that contextually you could definitely infer that both are about her, or like I said earlier, just at least about people that we've lost.
Right.
So, yeah. Right. For me, it's definitely the closeout of like, okay, we've shown we can be a big time mainstream rock group. That was fun. It's its place. It kind of closes that down, because then what you transition to is, here's our influences, here's some experimental stuff, here's that. So I think it kind of closes, like in some ways it kind of closes down that first half of the record. So I like it for that. Like it's there for that, and it kind of does it. It is of all the songs on the record, I will say it is an interesting choice for the title track. There's a lot to be said about that, but I think that's what I really, really see this is just kind of, let's close it down. We've done that. We've shown off our chops. Now let's have some fun. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, they jump into Ridiculous with Eek a Mouse is the featured reggae vocalist on this. And that's the whole point. Now let's jump into some reggae songs. Out of nowhere, here we come. What are our thoughts on Ridiculous?
My thoughts on it, I love it. I think it's a great song. There's also a demo version of it that they released on the 20th anniversary album. That is it's honestly just a totally different song, which just goes to show the artistry that went into that song. It was pretty much just a bunch of improv, which kind of shows, but not in a bad way. It kind of gives like that freestyle vibe of, we're just making a song for the joy of making a song. There's a point to it. There's a message in the song. And it's not really buried by what's going on, but it's just, I guess it's kind of undergirded by the attitude in which they approached it. But basically what they're saying with the song is, you don't have to be so serious about everything. It's kind of ridiculous. We can, we can have fun and just do what we do and not be hypocritical about stuff. And that's worth its own salt, But I think it's a great, to your point of Satellite being the end of that run of songs at the beginning, this is a great intro into what we're going to do now.
Well, and I was trying to look to see where it was on the vinyl, because in the reissue, it's a two vinyl.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Double, it's a double, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that'll make a difference. I'm curious what the original one was, but so they have. Sorry, I had it.
I wonder if that's the first time it was on vinyl, to be totally honest.
Okay. Yeah.
2001 is like the vinyl dead space.
Right. Yeah, it's right in the middle. I mean, they're doing about 4 tracks a side, and so that would mean that ridiculous. I mean, that's right in the middle. So it's the third track on the B side.
Considering that P.O.D, especially around this time, and even a couple of my other favorite bands do lean into like the reggae stuff, I've always been a person that, how do I put it, struggled to differentiate a lot of reggae music. Outside of these bands, like, it's not a thing I'm usually going to go to, but I love this song, and I also think it probably is my favorite of P.O.D's reggae songs, because they have a number of them throughout their discography that lean into that style more than just letting it be like one of the flavors, where I would actually say this is a reggae song. Set Your Eyes to Zion on the previous album, and some others like that. But Ridiculous is just, it's so fun. And I don't want to make fun of artists, but it is a little bit ridiculous. Like, just the way that Ika Mouse comes in at the beginning, like, it's kind of goofy sounding. And like, I was like listening to this as I was out shopping again. Not this time, I was at Target yesterday. And I was glad that I was like, kind of just like, rapping along to it in my head, because if people heard me doing that out loud in a store, I'd have looked like a maniac. Like, like just making the sounds that he's... yeah. Who's this guy doing Rasta stuff in the middle of the white guy?
That guy really likes Cheez-Its. Holy cow. Did you see how excited he was? Man alive.
Exactly. I don't know. That's. I'm not skipping really much of anything on this album, but that's definitely a non-skipper. I'm gonna play that one, and if I'm in my car, I'm definitely gonna go all in on the weird Ika Mouse stuff.
Oh yeah. Get it, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like to see that. Like that's the fun one, the little tongue twister.
Awesome.
Wickedness. You stop to play that, I'm already sick of it. They're so ridiculous. They're so ridiculous. They'll test me cool, but they can't get with this. They're all the same talking, they nonsense. You stop to play that, I'm already sick of it.
All right, I looked it up. This was released on vinyl in 2001. I can't imagine that many people bought it because, again, dead space. But this, let's go on to The Messenger. I feel a little silly saying it, I will be totally honest. That closes down side B, so this is kind of the midpoint of it was a 2 LP release back in 2001 as well. What are our thoughts on that song? My note was this feels like fundamental element a lot more than some of the other songs in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but that was kind of the vibe I got off of it.
Yeah, I get the same vibe, and I think it's a really good jam. For a long time, it was my favorite song on the record. I wouldn't say that anymore necessarily, but and it probably was because it harkened back so much to fundamental elements. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid track. I enjoy it a lot, and I to Aaron's point with ridiculous, it's not one that I'm going to skip.
Yeah, I don't skip anything on this record.
No.
And I don't like
really.
52-minute albums. Those are too long for me. I don't skip anything on this.
I was very curious what your thought was on that because I know you don't like
it's pushing
long
me.
albums.
Yeah, it's pushing me, but it's got enough going on that I don't sit with a lot of like heavier albums. So when I go into it, I'm looking for something a little heavier. And so, yeah.
I think to your point of it feeling a little bit more like fundamental elements, I was just thinking about this right now. Like if Boom kind of corresponds with Rock the Party and Ridiculous kind of corresponds with Zion, then I think this one kind of corresponds with Lie Down from that one. It's sort of filling a similar space on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also like lyrically, this is definitely one of the ones that would have stood out to me as a youth group kid about the whole stand up for your faith kind of thing, whatever the cost. So that would have really spoken to me, especially at that particular time where I was at within my faith. Which that's a recurring thing that P.O.D. also comes back. That's a recurring note, is that they have a lot of recurring notes, the things that come back throughout different P.O.D. albums, musically and lyrically.
All right. I'm going to skip the instrumental track, track 9, because we already kind of talked about it, and move on to, it sounds like a lot of people's introduction to Blindside, Anything Right, track 10 on the record. I have no notes.
This one for me is honestly one of my favorites. It might be my favorite on this album. As far as one that I come back to as an individual track a lot. I don't know. There's just sometimes where I'm like, I just want to listen to that song for some reason, and I'll just put it on. So yeah, I think it's a really, really solid one. Like I said, I could have seen that being another single as well. But it may be a little too heavy in parts for radio, which is understandable. But I don't know. There's just something about it. It's a very relatable song lyrically, where it's just like, no, I feel that. I felt that, probably every day of my life. And I don't know. There's just that passion in Sonny's voice, and in Christian's voice. They're I don't know, just kind of singing to my soul, I guess.
Well, you're right. I mean, just that passion in there that I was noticing throughout these, like with The Messenger, with Anything Right, with Masterpiece Conspiracy, as we get to it, how clean the screams are on it, and just how passionate they are. Like there's a lot of bands, a lot of hardcore bands that scream, and you're like, okay, that's just their style. But with P.O.D., it's like it fits. And not that it doesn't with some of the other bands, I'm not saying that, but especially here, that passionate scream fits the song, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
I think, well, for one, as a side note of that, I had forgotten how much Marco screams on this album.
Yeah,
way more than I remembered.
Right.
It's like 6 or something different songs. But to your point, I think when Sonny screams in particular, like, I think he does like the emotional anguish of a scream better than just about anybody that I listen to. Maybe I should put it that way. Yeah. You really do feel everything that he says.
Right. And you're right. Marco's saying, I 6 or at least 6 tracks. That's crazy.
Something like that.
Yeah. Huh.
I thought in my mind I thought that was something they mostly left behind.
Yeah. Right.
And was just on Fundamental Elements. But listening back to this, I was like, oh yeah, Marcos is all over it because his screams sound different than Sonny's, and it's usually like kind of the background yelling. But yeah,
kind of the echo, kind of the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Blindside, it's interesting with this too, is that they, with touring this album, Blindside opened up for them. I think it was Phoenix. Oh gosh, there's a
Phoenix TX.
Thank you, TX. Phoenix TX, and I'm like, I think it's TX. All right, and I saw them on this tour, and so with Blindside opening up, another great tour, where it's just, two bands, your Project 86, your P.O.D, and then a band in there that's good, but you wouldn't have put them with them, So at least in my book, and so with Blindside opening up for that tour, that was a absolutely phenomenal opener for them, especially with Christian being on this track. And I heard Blindside before, thankfully somehow I had, but it's cool to see all the people that got into Blindside from this.
Yeah, probably brought them to a much bigger audience,
especially that Boom video.
Yeah, I love that they got featured twice, and it's on in a video for one song, and then in vocals on a whole different song. I think that's kind of fun. I've always liked the P.O.D. Blindside relationship and the Project one. Like that was a whole tour too, the Warriors thing that they did. And to your point, Blindside I think kind of got lumped in a little bit with like new metal, but they really were not.
Right.
And so it was. I don't know. It was interesting. This probably also is what led to them getting their own, because they dropped. I don't remember exactly when Silence came out, but I know P.O.D. played a role in their moment that they had as well. Also, to what Rob was saying about this song, kind of speaking to it and how we've all felt this way, I think this is the most, and I don't say this as an insult, this is the most stereotypically new metal song on the album lyrically. Because this is the kind of stuff that a lot of those other bands were singing about. And P.O.D. was like, we can do that too, actually, if we need to. So
right. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
The whole I can't do anything right. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Chester was singing about things like that a lot. And Jonathan Davis and everybody. So
can't
fair point.
With sunshine on my face,
right. You still got your moments where you're kind of feeling a little down,
If we trust in love. Anyway, sorry, but Silence. I looked it up quick because I was curious. Silence from Blindside came out August 30th of 2002, so within the year.
Okay.
That one came out, and I think it did so well, that album. I mean, like we've all said here, partly because of that connection with P.O.D. They shot that Boom video on a off day on tour, if I remember right. I think I'd read that somewhere. I might be completely off base, and Sonny, if you're listening, please forgive me. But
Sonny, if you're listening, seriously, I've got an email address. Let me know. Jeepers.
I have a phone
Sonny,
number.
if you're listening, we love you, sir.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously, if you're listening to this, it's a whole other thing.
Man. Absolutely. Yeah, right. But yeah, it's cool to see how they took off right around the coattails of this album.
I think that's an interesting thing that I think may be lost in time a little bit more these days with how music works, is how much influence a big band could have on breaking other bands, especially like in that like heavy, like that new metalish world where like Limp Bizkit pretty much made like Stained and like a couple other, like there's these relationships where the established band that has had their hits brings somebody else up a little bit, and then those guys get their look as well. And that's how much power P.O.D. had at that moment, that just getting the rub from them could put a band's career on a new trajectory.
And that's even like that thought of where even combing through the thank you notes, where back in the day of a book with, I know Kevin on our show talks about that all the time, where he would just get an album, comb through the notes. What shirt are they wearing? What who are they thanking? And then you're like, oh, I got to look up this band, So it really makes a difference.
Tying those together, I'm going to do another quick little aside.
Yeah.
So P.O.D. P.O.D. was on Shiprocked. The Shiprock cruise in 2025. Sonny and Marcos were what they call stowaways in 2026. which means the whole band wasn't there, but they're there and they're just kind of chilling, and they go do like a all-star show here and there. But literally every time I saw Sonny on that boat, he was wearing a different shirt of a different band that was also on the boat that he had clearly just gone and bought from merch. So that dude, we keep really like speaking well of this guy, but he, to this day, he's still out there being like, I'm gonna give a shout out as best I can to these newer bands that are coming up.
Oh yeah,
so
That's awesome.
so good.
Next song, track 11, is Ghetto. What are our thoughts on that? Do people have comments about the bridge and how much it rocks?
It does rock. That is really my only point of enjoyment in the song. Really, I mean, it's not bad. Like I like I like some of the instrumentals in there, but it's definitely a lower point of the album for me. But yeah, that bridge does kick really hard.
Maybe I don't know that we want to necessarily go down too deep of a rabbit hole on this one, but since we kind of played on it earlier, and it is a game I enjoy, of like if Portrait started the album, when listening back to this one, I thought of Ghetto. If I had to pick a different song to close the album, I would put it in the contenders as well, because I think you got to hit musically and thematically to close an album out. And I think this one could do the trick if they for whatever reason decided to resequence the album in a different way. I could see it landing in that closing spot.
I like it. Join us on Patreon and we will retrack this entire record.
We're gonna go another 2 hours. Here we go.
I could do a whole podcast just resequencing records, because it would offend so many bands. They're like, we put a lot of work into that. I'm sorry. I like what I like.
It took us 3 days to do that, and you just ripped it apart in your half-hour podcast. All right, let's move on then. Track 12, Masterpiece Conspiracy. They kind of amp the noise back up as they kind of head towards the end of the album. What are our thoughts on Masterpiece Conspiracy?
I love it. I think it's a great song. I do think it's one of the few tracks that is probably too clean on the production for me. I don't feel like it's quite raw enough, especially for the message of the song, and maybe that's intentional. I don't know. But you know, it kind of, like I said, it just feels a little too clean. The bridge on it just doesn't. It feels underthought, as if they didn't really come up with a bridge, so they just kind of made some noise, I guess. I don't know. But it's still one of my favorite tracks on the album. Like, I don't know, thematically, of course, it's very new metal. But you know, it's just, I don't know. I go back and forth with it. Like I said, I love it every time I hear it. And it honestly, the verses play in my head a lot. I will just randomly think of lyrics from that song. So I do really like it, but there's also just something about it. Like, I feel like it could be better than what it is, but it's a fun track.
For me, the breakdown at the end is makes this track for me. The yelling that it's such a backstabber, and then the breakdown with the guitars. It was amazing.
Play off that a little bit. I really appreciate the way that, I wouldn't say it necessarily transitions into the next song, but it's definitely, I'm a huge sucker for the way a song ends and the next one begins and how they sound juxtaposed together. And I think this one into the next track is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
All right, let's move into track 13, Without Jaw, Nothing, featuring HR from Bad Brains. I don't know if this is my favorite track on the album. It's definitely my favorite track on the second half of the album, for sure. I really like Bad Brains, so, you know, I'm kind of a sucker for it. What are our thoughts on Without Jaw, Nothing?
I love how fast it is. I mean, it's so good. So when you said that transition from the end of Masterpiece Conspiracy into this one, it ramps it up.
Yeah, this is another song that I featured on a skate video. Because it's just, again, it just has that right energy. But I think it's probably my favorite feature on the album.
I mean, we're all in agreement that HR is fully ad-libbing, right? Like, I feel like he's literally not even saying words for the majority. Well, he is a while. For a lot of it, he's just totally feels like he's just making stuff up over whatever the instrumental track that he was given, which is fine. But I just want to. I'm like, surely that's what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
He's looking up the lyrics right now to see what it says.
No. Right now, Without John Nothing has no lyrics to it.
No lyrics in the vinyl liner.
That's funny.
I
don't know if you guys watch movies and TV shows with subtitles on, but I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it'll just say indistinguishable.
Yeah.
That's probably what you would get there.
I'm pretty sure at some point in his jabbering, and I say that with affection, HR literally says, "I don't even know what I'm saying." Listen carefully. I bet you'll find something that at least sounds kind of like that.
But with Genius, it goes like verse, chorus, pre-chorus, and I'm like, nope, the pre-chorus is supposed to go after the chorus. Actually, like it's just like it is. It's like it's verse, chorus, pre-chorus, chorus, and I'm like, I think they didn't know what was going on here either. So yeah, it's all over the place.
I feel like it's just some guy that's like listening to it like second by second and writing down what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think something cool about P.O.D. that again would become a recurring thing in some of their futures albums is that they've reached this point and they love to pay tribute to their own musical heroes and have them to feature. So it's not only that they have HR on this song, it's that this song sounds like a Bad Brains song.
Yeah,
it's basically P.O.D. doing
totally
their version of Bad Brains. Yeah,
and I love that idea of like we've done like here's an introduction to Blind Side. So you want to check out this other heavy metal band that we like, but here's something that like. I think you could easily make the argument that Bad Brains is the most, like, where did P.O.D. get their sound from? Bad Brains is, especially early P.O.D., is like a really, really, like, you can see the influence, and I love it. And, so yeah.
I would get that, yeah. They had Mike from Suicidal Tendencies on a later album, and so I would put them in that conversation somewhere too. But just to kind of harken back to that point of like once they reached the point where they could do it and get people to come on their songs, they love going back and like both spotlighting rising artists and paying homage to their people that influenced them. I think that's super cool when bands do that.
Yeah, probably threw off a couple youth group kids. I'm not gonna lie. Bad Brains? Yeah. What is this? Are they blowing up the Capitol on their self-titled album? Okay, hide this one from my mom, who's also my homeschool teacher. All right.
So they're being a little subversive in there too, Like, all right, Christian industry, you censored our last album cover. We're going to introduce your children to Bad Brains.
That's right.
We'll get you, family Christian bookstore executives. Oh, man. All right. Well, that was all joking aside. Now let's go to this very, very serious song. Thinking About Forever is the penultimate track on the record. What are our thoughts on this very emotional song?
Oh, yeah, and this is the one I was thinking of that really is written about. I mean, even though that hinted at in the other songs, but the more likely written about his mom for sure.
Yeah, who, if you don't know, died of leukemia in like 1992, I want to say. I mean, when he was
something like that.
It's a couple years before this record had come out, but yeah, she had died a couple years ago, and obviously had an impact. It was still on his mind very, very strongly.
Sure.
I think it's a great emotional song. It's nice. Again, they don't do a ton of ballad stuff, but when they do it, I said it. Sonny finds a way to make things work, and he does a really good job on this track. The whole band does, but he does a really good job on this track.
Yeah, the emotion's there for sure.
And kind of touching on what I mentioned earlier, like this is a chance where like Marcos gets to show off his skills in a different way than he does elsewhere on the album. The guitar is really pretty on this track, and so the pieces of the puzzle fit together really well. I suppose also worth noting for anybody listening, this is just a give people some homework kind of thing. To the point of P.O.D. writing songs, or multiple songs about Sonny's mom, if you're a P.O.D. fan and never went back before Fundamental Elements, I highly recommend checking out Brown and the song Full Color, which is an incredibly intense song about him losing his mother. It's interesting the way that they can write about that same topic from like different emotional angles. And so That's listen to Thinking About Forever and Full Color back to back, and that'll be an experience.
Yeah.
Let's close it down with what should have been the opening track. Debate. No, the closing track on this record, Portrait. What are our thoughts as they close the record down?
Man, the intro to that song is just killer. I've heard it used for a lot of things. We've talked about Boom and how much it gets used as a hype up song. I've heard the intro to Portrait get used a lot as an intro song for different things. And it just, I don't know, man, there's something really, really good about it. And then the way that it just kicks in all of a sudden. But it starts off very emotional and like you think you're kind of getting a ballad almost. And then you very quickly realize you're not getting a ballad. And then you go to this chorus, which is kind of a ballad. I don't know. It's weird. I love it.
Yeah. It goes, it's exactly it. Like you hit that 40-second mark and you're like, oh, okay. All right. We're not, we're not taking this one slow either. All right. We're going.
It's also probably one of the most clearly Christian songs on the album in terms of the lyrical content. There's really no denying what they're talking about with that. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, one of you guys will have to look this up. I'm sorry. I'm so technologically inept here. I'm just using my phone. You guys have like your whole like workstation going on. No, I think they won an award for like best metal performance for a live performance of Portrait. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like that's a random fun fact there.
That is on the wiki somewhere. Even though it wasn't even a single, somehow they got, I think it was a Dove Award or something like that I'm not sure,
Huh.
They got some kind of award, or at least a nomination for the song.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's cool that the album has a couple of softer, slower, slightly more ballad songs, but instead chooses to end on like one of the heaviest notes on the whole record. At some point, it's a very like standard kind of tropey thing, like end with your acoustic song or your ballad. Like you could end with Thinking About Forever. Sonically, a lot of bands would probably do that. And P.O.D. was like, "No, we're coming back, and you're getting some more Marco screams before we call this a day."
Right.
So sorry, I'm so sorry. I can't do anything right. You don't know me, stay out of my life. Treat me while I'm down. I want you to. I can't be like you. Don't wanna be like you. I can't do anything right. You don't know me, stay out of my life. Treat me while I'm down. I want you to.
Obviously, this is a huge record. People have definitely checked it out. But 25 years later, this still holds up. Obviously, we've gotten like emotional at a couple points. I know I have. Why would you tell somebody, hey, go back, check this record out 25 years later?
I would say that this is just it's a quintessential album for the time period. It's when you think of albums that came out at pivotal times or memorable times in history. This one is what I remember for that time period. I'm trying to think of other albums that I could compare, but I can't. But at the moment, I feel like for that time period, this album, if you want to look back on what was our soundtrack or what our rallying cry, I guess, for that time period, this is it for me anyway. So I feel like just from start to finish, it's a great complete album, and lyrically it's phenomenal. We've talked about the guitars, we talked about the instrumental, we talked about the drums. It's a great from front to back phenomenal album.
I basically agree with what you just said there, and I think as a cultural artifact, I called it an important album. Like this is an essential nu metal album. This is an essential Christian rock album. This is overall just an essential pop culture album, to the point that it was, like you said, it was going toe to toe on TRL with the biggest pop stars in the world for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it fits in all these categories. And then on top of that, just is good and is interesting. We just talked for a very long time about all the different things they do stylistically and the different things that they touch on, and mostly in a very convincing, emotional manner in their lyrics. And so, like, there's something for just about anybody on here, I would think, especially if you're a rock fan at all.
Rob, take us home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually just going to say pretty much what he said there at the end of that. I feel like there's something for everybody on this album. I don't think it's one that really misses any points. You have a lot of great pop sensibility in it, and you have a lot of great metal moments. You have, just really solid nu metal throughout. Caleb, to your point, there's a lot of great songwriting on here that shows that they're not just a band who can only do one kind of thing. They know how to write a hit, and this was that hit album. So, it also really gives you a great taste for the band itself. All of their style is really compacted into this album. So it's a great nod to what went before, and it's a great jumping off point for what comes next. It's obviously the band takes a big turn when Marcos leaves after this album. And so, this was the last album that they did all together as a band before Marcos takes his little hiatus. Thankfully, he did come back. Don't get me wrong, I love Truby, but he was the driving force in the band. He was part of that original group, and I really think this album shows kind of why he needed to go off and do something else, because they kind of did it all with this one, and did it really well. So yeah, even though it's far from being my favorite P.O.D. album, I do think it is the entry point album. It's one. For instance, my wife is not a P.O.D. fan, but she knows this album. She really does. She had listened to it in her sister's car, before we ever even met each other. And so, we've talked about that before, how much she loves this particular album. And I'll talk about some of the other stuff. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But this one's a touch point, this album really, really touched a lot of people, in a great way that showed, like I said, that they're not just a nu metal band who does a lot of rapping and screaming. But they know how to write songs. They know how to touch your soul. They know, they just know how to tap into that human experience in a special way.
Yeah.
Well, and to piggyback just quickly off that, it's like generationally, it's like you said with your wife, my dad, who might not like nu metal, loved that, or somebody else that liked different parts of it. So it was a broad appeal to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is it. That is our breakdown of Satellite by P.O.D. Again, released September 11th, 2001, celebrating a 25-year anniversary. I want to give you guys a chance to tell people where to find your stuff. Rob, do you have anything that you would tell people to go find outside of your Twitter account or other places?
I really don't. I think I said this the last time I was on here, but I am working on some writing projects, and hopefully in the coming years I'll be releasing that stuff. But I don't have anything at the moment. So yeah, just for now, follow me on Twitter, and then hopefully you'll see some stuff from me here in the coming months or years.
Nice. What's the Twitter handle for us?
Let's see here. I haven't changed it yet. I really need to change it. I should have done it for this. This would have been a good time to announce it. But it is Pearls, Pearls, 4 swine, SWINE.
Nice. Yeah, for a long time it was a picture of a pig.
It was, yeah. I did like this whole like satire thing for a while. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just not really my brand anymore. So I'm kind of moving on from that. And so I got rid of the picture, put an actual picture of my face on there, put my pen name on there instead of Pearls for Swine. So yeah. Anyways, I forgot the last part is Guy, Guy.
Okay.
So yeah, Pearls for Swine Guy. That's where you can find me on
Nice.
Twitter, X, whatever it is.
Awesome. Aaron, you run a podcast. No, we'll switch to the podcast portion of the promos.
Yeah.
Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, my podcast that I do with two close friends of mine and co-hosts, Dan and KC. It's called The Itch, or The Itch Rock Podcast, if you don't want to find something that's about a medical condition when you search for it. Yeah, we are primarily at this point interviews with rock musicians and concert reviews. We dubbed ourselves professional concert goers at this point because we just see a lot of shows. But yeah, I'm glad that we could do this one. I appreciate you again shouting that out. This was the first album that I've done on this podcast with someone that I've actually spoken to on The Itch. So happy for it to be be Sunny. Yeah, so you can check us out. We are on Instagram and Facebook. It's Itch Rocks, ITCHROCKS, which is also our website. That's the .com. The Sunny episode, if anybody listening is interested in a follow-up to this, is episode 253. So you can just / and add that on there, and itchrocks.com/253. Take you right to Sunny talking about his life and his band and his book.
Nice. And a call back to an episode that hasn't been released yet when we're recording this. Maybe they'll do Itch Fest, which will not be a dermatology conference, but maybe at some point is a concert. I would like to go to Itch Fest.
Oh.
When I come up with a name that is not that, that's the only thing any of us can ever think of when we're like, what would happen if we did like our own show? Like, and we get stuck on Itch Fest, and then the conversation derails, and it never gets
into
A super group at the end coming together to do Love Potion number 9. That'd be great. Yeah.
devolves into only bands that are like semi-diseased, like
Yeah.
Right,
in the
yeah.
title of something, like
Clap your hands, say yeah. Oh, yeah. Never mind. No.
Awesome. All right, Pete, you also have a podcast that is your podcast and nobody else's.
No
Tell us about your
one
podcast.
else's. That's right. Because everybody that's been on here claims it as their own. So I'm gonna claim it as mine. No, I do a podcast with 3 other guys: Kevin, Brock, and Jared. Brock, who's been on here many times. All the guys have been through, but we do a little bit of chaos, a whole lot of fun, and quite a bit of nostalgia. And we also are professional concert goers that don't review concerts because we always promise we're going to do a recap and never get to it. So it's a pickle home companion wherever you get your podcasts. APICKLEHOMECOMPANION. I did it on Instagram.
right there.
That's right.
Wow.
Crips spelling bee, eat your heart out. But anyway, so Scripps. There we go. Can't even say that right. But please check us out. It's great. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad to do it with those guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate hanging out and talking about this record. I got emotional. I did not see that coming. Really appreciate talking about this record, and I know it's a big one for a lot of people. So, yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, enjoyed talking with you all.
Thank you.
Y'all too.
I know you're so much better.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Album Anniversary Podcast. I want to say thanks to my wonderful guests, Rob, Pete, and Aaron for hanging out for a couple hours talking about this record. Had so much fun, super interesting, loved it. Really, really appreciate their time. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm on all the social medias. Go check me out there. Check me out. That sounded so conceited. It's super, super gross. Remember to check out the Patreon. Again, there's a free trial, and then you can see some of the stuff I'm doing on there. You can also email the show, CalebTheSpypodcasts@gmail.com. Leave a rating, a review, subscribe, share the podcast. We really appreciate it. I work hard on this, and it's great when people talk about it and share it with other people. I hope it brings some joy to people's lives. Thanks so much, everybody. We will talk to you soon. What are our other thoughts on why we like it?
I think it's just an album that. Let me start without for your editing purposes, Caleb. Sorry. Dang it! All right.
Also, you can cut this, but I'm going to throw a link to the interview in the chat. So if the other guys want to check it out later on sometime
yes,
in your
please.
own time.
Thank you.
You don't need to leave that in the episode, but just so you see why there's a little
Show
notification.
notes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, show notes? Pete, I've gotten really lazy with show notes. I don't want to have to work hard on them.
All right, don't. That's up to you.
Oh, thanks. All right, the executive producer said I don't have to. Perfect.
I did it. I made it. All right, sorry.
Anything else we want to call out on why we love this record? Came up recently when I was talking with Cody Hook about, we were talking about watching people get hit by cars, and I saw a guy get hit by a bus. I'm not including this in this. And in China, they don't have, the insurance is different. So you don't have insurance. So nobody moves until the police get there and document everything. So,
oh wow,
dead guy in the middle of the road, just sitting there. Nobody touch him until the police have documented everything. Just dead body, and crazy. So, all right.
Wow.
So, quick aside here, it has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than what you mentioned about the Rasta stuff. But if you guys haven't seen it, just look up, and don't put this in the episode, Caleb. But it's just funny to me. But Saturday Night Live did a recent one here where they had a taxi driver. It was a white dude, and he just starts busting into some Rasta rhymes, and it's so over the top. It's so funny. You got to look it up. It's great. But it's just at the end of it, he's like, "Man, I don't want to be a white Rasta guy."
It's really good.
I'm looking it up right now so that it's waiting to be watched as soon as we're done.
So it's going to go extreme
sorry.
days. Here comes the
Hope you enjoy
boom. Revisit that episode of Saturday Night Live. Okay.
It's actually, it's easy. It really is just called Rasta Driver. So
Right. Yeah.
that's how it shows up on YouTube.
Oh man.
So that was easy.
Kieran, I don't want to rush the magic.
Okay, first of all, do you know anything about magic? Because magic has to be rushed, otherwise you can see how the trick is done. So, bring it in.
Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. Here come the boys from the south. It's all right, it's all right. Give him the best shot, Scott, right here. Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. Here comes Scott from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. How you like me now?